Oklahoma State announced that an internal review of head coach Mike Gundy, quote, uncovered no signs or indication of racism. But his contract was reportedly shortened by a year and included a pay cut. So, Shannon, what is your reaction to this?
I'm not surprised, Skip.
Really?
And considering that the buyout of Van Gundy would have been about $16 million, I understand it. But given the history and the magnitude of this scope, I believe they should have gone out to outside counsel and had them do the investigation instead of internally. Because, Skip, you know what? Hey, Shannon, I want you to investigate yourself and let us know what you come back with. What you think I'm gonna come back with, Skip? Yeah, you know, I've been doing that for about 5-6 years. And, you know, no, of course not, Skip. You can't tell me, hey, you got an open book. Hey, take this test home. If I take the test home, what I'm gonna do, Skip? So this is that's the problem that you have, and people look at it like, hold on. You did an internal investigation of yourself, and we expected you to find that, oh, yeah, you were wrong on a number of issues. Nobody going to believe that you're going to come back with anything that you deem that you did anything wrong. Oh, yeah, there's some things he can work better with the players on his team, but, you know, that's something that, you know, he can build on that. No, Skip, when you look at these issues, and people try to make it about the T-shirt, it's not about the T-shirt. It's an accumulation of things that Mike Van Gundy has said and done over the course of
Mike Gundy.
Mike Gundy has said over his tenure as the head coach of Oklahoma State. Now, I've talked to some people that knows him, that's been around him, and for lack of a better word, he's a prick. He's arrogant. And that doesn't necessarily mean that he's racist, and I'm not here to call him that, but he does some things.
Although you were the first to report. Go ahead.
Oh, but him using the N-word to Alfred Williams. Now, I did
during a game in 1989.
He used the N-word to...
he was the quarterback at Oklahoma State, and they were getting their butts kicked at Colorado.
And that was the first time they had beat Oklahoma State. Colorado had beaten Oklahoma State, and I think in a very long time.
Right. So he got frustrated, he uttered that word according to Alfred and
it was McGee and a lot of Mike.
Right.
I think Mike Jones was another guy that was on. And so, like 20 of his teammates actually heard him say it. Mike Van Gundy denied it, obviously. Skip, if you remember, Alfred Williams' position coach, Bob Simmons, got the head coaching job at Oklahoma State. And when he got there, he demoted him.
Good point.
So
I'd forgotten about that.
I'm not saying that was the reason why, but I'm saying that's what happened. So, Skip, for me, there's so many things that's going on. I mean, he's been echoing, he's calling it the Chinese virus. He said, we need to get these students back on campus. We got to keep that money flowing through Oklahoma, Skip. You know? Forget the help. We don't worry about that. Skip, and then it's hard for me to believe that a coach don't know the players on his team's name. Now, sometimes, you know, I get it, you know, old school coaches, they try. But for this, and he referred to them as jersey numbers, and then one guy had, you know, passed out, had to be revived. And he started practice right back up, so, you know, and guys were genuinely concerned about what's transpiring. Skip, I just think the thing is, just put all the cards on the table, let an outside, and that's what normally corporations do. Because they know people are going to look at, like, if we do this investigation ourselves, no matter what we come back with, people are going to say we didn't do enough. But if we let somebody outside of this handle it, who has no dog in the fight, because no matter what Oklahoma tells you, they got a dog in this fight, Skip. And they don't want this dog to get scathed. So I would have felt better. And maybe they come back with the same conclusion that Oklahoma State came back with. That, yes, he can have a better relationship with his players, but there's nothing extraordinary out of whack here. And so let's just leave it. Maybe they come back with that same conclusion. But I think a lot of people would have felt better had they had someone outside do the investigation and come back with this conclusion that they found. But it's going to be, it's interesting to see moving forward how the black players feel about Mike Van Gundy, because a lot of this stuff has become public that maybe weren't public. Because a lot of these guys weren't even born in '89. I can assure you that. They weren't even born in '90, Skip. So you got to come back and come 2000 before a lot of these kids knowing what's going on.
The one point I disagree with you on is your first point, that you were not surprised that he kept his job. I'm surprised because I'm just profoundly disappointed in this university. And I did grow up in that state, in Oklahoma City. Now, I was a University of Oklahoma fan, so they were the rival, not an arch rival. Texas was the arch rival, but they both were orange, but it was the rival.
Right. That's your in-state rival.
even though it never could sort of live up to the rivalry.
Right. It's not Alabama-Auburn.
And by the way, that guy is 2-13 against his in-state rival.
Correct.
That's why I thought he was on the thinnest of ice. And the strongest media voice in the state of Oklahoma is Barry Trammell, the columnist for the Oklahoman, the most plugged in of all the journalists in Oklahoma. And he said on his, I believe it was on his radio show a day after this first broke, when he was pictured in the OAN shirt while he was fishing on Lake Texoma, Barry Trammell said that he was going to be surprised if he kept his job until the weekend, which was 3 more days, and that he was told that they were ready at Oklahoma State to move on from Mike Gundy.
Right.
But to your point, it was going to cost $16 million, and it's a lot of money. And some of the more well-heeled boosters were going to help subsidize the $16 million.
Right.
Oklahoma was a Trump state in 2016. I have no idea if it is right now, but every county in the state of Oklahoma voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
Yes.
So you can guess, you can maybe leap to the conclusion that a number of the most wealthy boosters of Oklahoma State University are Trump supporters. So they had no problem with him wearing an OAN T-shirt.
Skip, I give you an example. Willie Taggart. He was at Florida State.
Yep.
And I think his buyout was $21 million. Is he still the head coach at Florida State?
No, he's
when
not.
they want your butt
That was
gone,
about W's and L's.
but Skip, when they want you gone, they'll get you up out of there.
That was just strictly about performance.
I know, that's what
I know.
I know, but I'm saying when they want you gone, there's not amount of money that the boosters won't put up to get you up out of there. When the boosters want you to stay, you stay. No, I'm not saying it was about anything about race with Willie Taggart.
No, I'm with you. Okay,
strictly W's and L's.
I got it. I don't got it about Mike Gundy because let's walk quickly back through the sequence. During a conference call with the reporters soon after the pandemic hit, and he uttered that thing about we got to get him back at school so we can
keep the money
channel that money through the state of Oklahoma, however he said it, run that money through the state. He also volunteered without being asked that he's discovered a new network that he loves, OAN. And his point was, which was a little weird, but he said it's not right or left, it's right down the middle. It's just the facts, ma'am. Right? And I'm like, okay. So he said it, and he took heat for it, and he apologized for it.
Right.
I should have done more homework. I'm going to assume, and I'm pretty sure I'll be correct about this because we talked about it before, that OAN then sent him some swag, as in T-shirts or whatever, to represent them because they appreciated the publicity from a head coach at Oklahoma State. And he got the T-shirt, and then he chose, one fateful morning, just a couple of weeks back, he chose to take that T-shirt and put it on to go fishing in.
Correct.
What would that tell you? That he's co-signing, right?
Absolutely.
He's proud to wear. I'm sorry. I don't think you just throw... If you're that head coach in the public eye, and then you stand up and pose for a picture with your haul of fish that you caught at Lake Texoma, knowing that the guy with you is a reporter for CBS, and he's going to post... there's a chance he's going to post it on his social media.
As being the head coach of Oklahoma State, how many Oklahoma State T-shirts do you think Mike Gundy owns? 1,000.
10,000, like unlimited supply.
So of all the Oklahoma
and they're all brand new.
Of all those, listen,
you can wear them one time and throw them out.
I do a T-shirt. I do a T-shirt. Not this one. Not this one. Not the cowboy. No, that one.
OAN. I'm going to wear that to go fishing. What does that tell you?
Yes.
Okay. So I told you I didn't know enough about OAN. So before we did the topic a couple of weeks ago, I'm on YouTube trying to find some video of what does it look like?
Right.
And I run across a female commentator talking about Black Lives Matter, and she calls it a farce.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know because it is obviously pro-Trump, far right. But Black Lives Matter is a farce?
Right.
Okay, then he had worn that T-shirt. And Chuba Hubbard, let me remind everyone, if they don't know this, he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, the leading rusher in all the country in college football, could have left after last year and gone into the draft, and I'm pretty sure he would have at least been a second-round pick, if not a late first-round pick. But he chose to go back to school. And then you know what he chose to say immediately on Twitter? I will not stand for this.
Right.
And he concluded that I will not be doing anything for Oklahoma State until they change. Well, I'm thinking, go, Chuba, go.
Yeah.
Way to go. And it's this time. This time is right. This is the time for you to take this stand and your teammates to lock arms with you and take a stand against that man wearing that T-shirt.
Right.
What happened a day later? We see a video that gets made in the halls of Oklahoma State Athletic Department. I don't know, in their media hall, right? And it's Chuba apologizing to Coach Gundy.
Right.
I should have come to you with this instead of taking it first to social media. He apologized, not Mike Gundy apologized.
Right.
And Mike's saying, we're good. You know, everything's good now. What?
Yeah.
And I was disappointed in Chuba. Stand strong.
Right.
Don't back off. Don't back down.
He didn't.
And later he said that I'm not backing down on my stance, but it came across that he sort of.
And the thing is, Skip, he said, well, the problem that I was wrong for not going to Coach Gundy as a man. Well, Coach Gundy didn't come to you as a player and says, I'm going to wear this T-shirt that's going to be highly offensive, knowing what that network represents. And a lot of times at President Trump's briefings, they when he addressed the media, they'll plant one of those, and he so happily, oh, yeah, you in the back over there. And they ask him a question where he's going to, you know.
Okay.
So, Skip, all you got to do, just go. This is not they're not left, they're not right, they're right down the middle. Just go take a look at it, and you tell me if they're right down the middle.
So Mike Holder's the AD. He used to be the golf coach, and they've had a tremendous golf program.
Oh, they go very good.
Okay.
Isn't Ricky Fowler from?
Yes, you got it. But Mike Holder, I know him a little bit, seems like a good man, but he conducted the internal investigation, and you and I are not buying because his conclusion is that Mike only needs to invest more time in building stronger relationships with his student athletes. But final takeaway was, quote unquote, we uncovered no signs or indication of racism. What did we just walk through? Was that not a big indication, a big red flag of racism?
Yes.
Well, how can you conclude that? So they wrist-slapped Coach Gundy. Mm-hmm. They cut his salary, I don't know exactly by how much, but some, and they took 1 year off what was a 5-year rollover, so now it's a 4-year rollover contract. I think he's not going to lose any sleep over that. I could be wrong.
Right.
But they did punish him, quote unquote, to that degree. Mm-hmm. So are you satisfied, Mr. Sharpe, with all of the above? You're not.
No, because I think the history of it and some of the things that he said and some of the things that he's done deserved a more in-depth look by people that are qualified to do that. It's Skip, and I'm not saying I don't know Mike Holder, but it's hard for me to believe that someone, the athletic director, is qualified enough to dig that deep and to go in the direction that an outside counsel could go into and find out certain things and interview different people. How many people did they actually interview? To take his word for it and ask one other guy, and that's the thing, Skip, what you run into when you don't do a thorough investigation. We see that a lot, Skip. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what we're going through with the police department. Yeah, we talked to him and nothing happened.
I agree.
Because you don't have an outside person doing the interviewing, you come back and people look at you like you're crazy. Okay,
so my final takeaway is Oklahoma State looks like it's going to have a pretty good team next year. Okay, Chuba's back, way to go. If this starts to hurt their recruiting, because this could affect living rooms and parents and how they counsel their young sons, do you really want to go play for that guy?
I tell you what, this is what you do. If you don't believe that T-shirt is the factor, when you go recruit some of them guys, put that T-shirt on and go in their grandma or their mama house or their dad's house. Put that T-shirt on. There's nothing wrong with the T-shirt. Just show up to those black kids' homes with that T-shirt on. That's all I'm asking, Mike Gundy. There's nothing wrong with it. Mike Holder, you don't deem there's anything wrong with it. Gundy doesn't deem there's anything wrong with that T-shirt. Put that T-shirt on and go sit on mama or grandma's couch.
And see how fast those boosters come up with $16 million to get you out of there.
Yeah. That's if you want to know if something is offensive, just put it on and just go about your business. Or that's not offending someone.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.